Cassandra Ventura, also known as Cassie, filed a lawsuit in November alleging Combs raped her and forced her to engage in sex trafficking. Jones alleges sex trafficking and sexual assault, also mentioning underage girls in the 79-page. The lawsuit filed by Jones includes explosive claims of hidden cameras at the rap mogul's home, as well as the seizure of drugs and over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. Meanwhile, 50 Cent has dropped a bombshell that could potentially unravel everything we thought we knew about Hollywood's hidden world.
Trust nobody. In Hollywood, specifically, when you get there, a lot of people don't know how to say no. That's the difference between New York City and California.
The lawsuit claims that arrest warrants are imminent for some of the biggest names in the industry, all tied to one of hip-hop's most influential figures, Diddy. This isn't just another celebrity feud, it could be the uncovering of dark, hidden secrets that fuel the power and influence of the elite.
Diddy Combs sits behind bars awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking and racketeering charges. We take a deep dive into the growing list of high-profile celebrities charged with sexual misconduct. We start with Harvey Weinstein. In April, the New York Court of Appeals overturned Weinstein's 2020 and sexual assault conviction and ordered a new trial. A retrial is set for November. Weinstein maintains his innocence and that all sexual encounters were consensual. Harvey Weinstein, once a Hollywood powerhouse, was accused by some 80 women, including Ashley Judd, of sexual assault and prosecuted in New York and California. He was acquitted of a 2010 sexual battery allegation, but a mistrial was declared for 2 other accusers. In 2020, he was convicted of rape and sexual assault, though New York's highest court later overturned his 23-year sentence.
This today is an act of institutional betrayal.
His defense attorney, Arthur Idala.
So the Court of Appeals deserves a tremendous amount of credit for doing this, based on the law, not based on opinion.
Suddenly, 50 Cent's allegations no longer seem so far-fetched.
R&B singer R. Kelly was sentenced in federal court in New York and Chicago for sexually abusing underage girls and recording it. In New York, the I Believe I Can Fly singer was sentenced to 30 years on sex trafficking and racketeering charges, followed by a 20-year sentence for child pornography and enticement charges in Chicago. The 2 men who once teamed up for the hit song Satisfy You now face similar accusations. Like Kelly, Diddy is being held on sex trafficking and racketeering charges. Diddy is being held in the same jail as Kelly once was, Brooklyn's troubled Metropolitan Detention Center. Unlike Kelly, Diddy is also charged with transporting individuals for prostitution.
Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims to fulfill his sexual desires,
reportedly begging his victims for compliance. Prosecutors report Diddy held private freak-offs where victims were drugged, beaten, and forced to participate while he recorded and masturbated. Diddy's attorney.
He's going to fight this with all of his energy and all of his might and the full confidence of his lawyers. And I expect a long battle with a good result for Mr. Combs.
Diddy faces more than 130 lawsuits, mostly by Houston attorney Tony Busby.
Our youngest victim at the time of the occurrence was 9 years old. We have an individual who was 14 years old.
Just days ago, in a bombshell interview, 50 Cent made a cryptic yet chilling statement about what he believes could mark the beginning of the end for Hollywood's untouchable elite.
And I know 50, he did a recent interview with U.S. Weekly saying that the reason why rappers are quiet about, Diddy's situation is because they've been to his parties. They don't know what got caught on tape.
Bruh, those people who was caught at Diddy parties did not know that he had 250 tape recorders in that house. That's a big house. But he had 250 tape recorders in that house that they took, that the feds found. So now with them finding all that and you being at a Diddy party, you know you may have done something that was caught on one of those tapes. You just better pray to God that they don't recognize you. Those people who know that they did something, no, they're not going to speak out. They're not going to say nothing. What part of the game is that? They are not going to come forward and tell on themselves. Nah, not at all. Ice Cube, he said it himself, bro. He said that Diddy's been targeted because of what he said about those folks and those people. Now, the people who was on those tapes may feel like Diddy might be targeting them. Because if he's asked about who is this, who is that, and he's under oath with the federal government, he gotta tell them.
In the early 2000s, Diddy was at the peak of his career, an iconic household name. Renowned not just for his music, but for his infamous freak-off parties. These gatherings were rumored to be the heart of power plays, manipulation, and leverage, where Diddy allegedly held secrets so tightly guarded that they remained practically invisible to the public eye.
Podcast earlier this month, defending why he's always been outspoken about longtime rival Sean Diddy Combs. Now, the rapper's doubling down on his feelings in a new interview with People.
I'm not panicking, they are.
Following Diddy's arrest for allegations of abuse, which he has vehemently denied, and stories of wild parties coming to light, 50 tells the outlet, "It seems like I'm doing some extremely outrageous things, but I haven't. It's really me just saying what I've been saying for 10 years.
They don't want me to throw the parties no more. But we ain't gonna stop. We gonna keep on having fun, bringing people together from all walks of life.
Yo, it's just my perspective because I stayed away from that stuff the entire time because this is not my style."
50 Cent, born Curtis Jackson II, had a front row seat to the lavish lifestyle and the power players behind it. In 2006, he publicly sparked a rivalry by accusing Diddy of withholding information about the murder of their mutual friend, the notorious B.I.G. He knows more than he's letting on 50 rapped in his track The Bomb. While many dismissed it as just a provocative line in a diss track, those close to 50 understood it wasn't merely rap beef, it was a warning shot.
Center of the government's case against Diddy are his alleged freak-offs, which according to the indictment were elaborate and produced sex performances that Diddy arranged, directed, pleasured himself to, and often electronically recorded. According to the federal indictment against him, when the federal agents searched through his homes during the raids, they seized drugs and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. In Cassie's suit, she alleged Diddy's assistant, who also set up the freak-offs, would stock the hotel suites with baby oil and Astroglide. And Diddy always supplied her and the sex workers with copious amount of drugs like ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, and
Rivalry simmered over the years but never fully cooled. Diddy maintained his dominant status in the entertainment industry, expanding into business ventures and continuing to host his exclusive gatherings. However, behind the scenes, whispers of strange and unsettling happenings never fully disappeared. Then, in 2024, those whispers grew into roars as Diddy was arrested on charges.
That's why I don't be going to them puppy parties. You can hug you from the front and the back at the same time. What you talking about? Look, if you into that, I'm fine with it. Get you on. I'm just saying this ain't my kind of party. It's uncomfortable. I think I belong in the girls' bathroom. Like that is over.
I hate when they leave me to talk because I always say the wrong thing. Last time they left me, I said something about puffing. So that yeah. I gotta stop doing that kind of shit. I've been talking to a therapist. Trying to help me with shit I've been saying. It's crazy shit. Oh wait, maybe I said that shit about boyfriend because he got Tupac to it. I thought this was real that.
50 Cent, Diddy's arrest was less of a surprise and more of a grim "I told you so" in a post that quickly went viral. He shared a photo of himself with actress Drew Barrymore, captioning it with a sharp jab aimed at Diddy, "I don't have 1,000 bottles of lube at the house."
Indicted by a federal grand jury on some pretty serious charges. And with this major development in the case comes a renewed interest in the many allegations against the now disgraced rapper. So let's start with the federal indictment. that lists nearly 20 allegations against Diddy in support of the charges he faces: racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. From the jump on page 1, prosecutors come out swinging, alleging Diddy is guilty of sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. The indictment goes on to allege Diddy showed a pattern of abuse, mostly against women, that included verbal, emotional, physical, and sexual abuse, including the use of extensive grooming tactics.
But this was just the beginning. 50 Cent's jab was symbolic of something much larger. He wasn't merely taking a shot at an old rival, he was pulling back the curtain on a world built on secrecy. In a candid interview with People, 50 made it clear that his allegations were nothing new. He'd been speaking out about this for years. Only now, the world was finally starting to listen.
Diddy's arrest Monday night.
We brought him to New York about 2 weeks ago because we knew this day was going to come.
Where was 50 on Monday? Also in New York, making an appearance on the Drew Barrymore show.
What are you looking for? And do you know what you're looking for?
Yeah, well, just real friendship.
Friendship, but not with Diddy. 50 posting a sweet picture of him and Drew on Instagram, but the caption tells a different story.
I have a lot of fun.
Here I am keeping good company with the Drew Barrymore show, and I don't have 1,000 bottles of lube at the house.
I'm not panicking, they are.
50 referring to the over 1,000 bottles of lube and baby oil found when the feds raided Diddy's home in March. One of many details revealed in his now unsealed indictment, which laid out the charges for his arrest.
Notably silent throughout all of this are some of Diddy's closest associates, listers like Jennifer Lopez, Leonardo DiCaprio, Justin Bieber, and even Naomi Campbell. Industry insiders suggest that their reluctance to speak out is driven by fear that acknowledging any connection to Diddy could trigger a ripple effect, potentially staining their own brands and careers.
I have something huge coming up, which is a documentary about P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy.
Yeah.
Did he do it, right?
Yeah.
I know
He did it.
you've been heavy on social media talking about it.
He did it. And I'm the only one who's been vocal about this long before it actually.
Oh, you've been saying this for a long time now. And then no one was, they're just, why is he saying this? And now it's coming out like crazy.
But I also didn't participate. I also didn't go to those parties.
Yeah.
So a lot of the celebrity culture that you don't hear saying anything is because they participated to a degree.
Was there a reason you never went to those parties back in the day? Obviously, I know what was going on there, but is there a reason you never did?
I'm just not with all that flippy shit. Like all of the stuff that he's doing, I'm not into that type of stuff. I'm just a little more, maybe you could say basic or normal. You go into the 90s, and Keefy D said they paid him to kill Tupac.
Yeah.
So look, like, you get the craziest accusations. You had TMZ created a docuseries that went to Tubi, but the series is saying the downfall of
But the silence didn't extend to everyone. One notable voice is Rodney Lil Rod Jones, a former collaborator of Diddy's, who recently filed a $30 million lawsuit against him, alleging sexual harassment and threats. While Diddy remained silent in response to the lawsuit earlier this year, following the recent arrest, Jones didn't hold back. In an interview with Rolling Stone, he referred to Diddy as a monster, revealing chilling details about the threats and manipulation he endured.
Just recently did an interview. And during this interview, he says that the reason why people are quiet about Diddy is because they've been to his parties and they don't know what's on tape.
Facts. They say they got a video of a male sex worker being sexually assaulted by him, and they trying to identify him from the footage. Think about that.
Are you saying of Diddy?
Yeah. Sexually assaulting a male sex worker. They got it on camera. They trying to identify the male from the footage. Shit get crazy, man. I feel like 50 probably knows, have a little bit more insight, because it's in the documentation that he had CCTV at the house of these parties. You feel me? They got that footage.
Yeah, and 50, he made the documentary about Diddy. He's been going at Diddy for years, man. I mean, I don't even know what this started from. So they got a guy on video being sexually by Diddy, but they don't know who the guy is. Assaulted.
Right.
Okay.
You know, I feel like by now they probably have identified him, but this was in a news publication.
I mean, Diddy got a lot of money, bro. You know, when he go to jail, he bringing $100 million in lawyers. He bringing 5, 6, 7 lawyers to the trial, dog. And you know, he gonna investigate every witness. Is gonna have detectives following them, or not detectives, but private investigators following them. Every single piece of dirt. You know what I'm saying? Like if Cassie tries to testify, they're gonna dig up every piece of dirt on her, and all that's gonna come out in trial, man. I mean, he just got unlimited amount of money.
As of now, Diddy remains in custody, denied bail, and facing charges that could potentially see him spend the rest of his life in prison. With 50 Cent on the offensive, the question now is, will this case mark a turning point in Hollywood? The outcome could ripple through the industry, challenging the power dynamics that have long been hidden in the shadows.
And now to the latest on the sex trafficking investigation that led to raids on the homes of Sean Combs here in Los Angeles and in Florida. He has not been arrested or charged, though he is named in multiple assault and trafficking lawsuits. Eyewitness News reporter Sophie Flay joins us here live with more. Sophie.
Giovanna, in a 79-page lawsuit filed by a music producer who claims to have worked with and lived with Sean Combs for a period of time, alleges there were underage girls, hidden cameras, and sexual harassment at his home, all of which Combs denies.
What were federal investigators in tactical gear looking for at Sean Diddy Combs' home in Los Angeles and Miami? Homeland Security says the raids were part of a months-long federal investigation, including sex trafficking.
If he's convicted, ultimately, he'll be in prison for a very long time. You know, one count of sex trafficking typically is 10 to 15 years in prison.
Cassandra Ventura, also known as Cassie, filed a lawsuit in November alleging Combs raped her and forced her to engage in sex trafficking. The two parties settled the suit the day after she filed.
The problem for Diddy is those allegations become public immediately, and they remain public. They're public record. So now that they're public record, and Cassie was brave enough to put her name to those allegations and not just file as a Jane Doe, well, that certainly empowers other potential victims of Diddy's conduct.
The arrest of Sean Diddy Combs has revealed more than just personal failings. It has opened a Pandora's box of secrets, alliances, and fears that could shake the industry to its core. With 50 Cent leading the charge and other voices beginning to speak out, this story may only be the start of Hollywood's darkest chapter yet.